Hi, welcome back. Today's subject, torque wrenches. So, I've been caravanning since 2006 and I've never actually owned a torque wrench. I know it's hard to believe. I knew what they were for, I've seen people use them, but I've never actually owned one myself. So that means I've never really checked my caravan nuts and whether they're tight or loose. Now it's become apparent to me recently, looking at social media and the news, that caravan wheels do tend to fall off, or at least they can fall off if you don't make sure the nuts are tight. Now it's not something I've ever done in a car, I've certainly never done it on a caravan. However, a bit of internet searching, a bit of social media research, I come up with this torque wrench. Now this one is one from Milenco. It's reasonably expensive. I mean, there definitely are cheaper ones. Now one of the reasons I purchased it, in fact two reasons. One, it says here that it's a Bailey specific. I don't think you can see that particularly well, but it says it's a Bailey version. What makes this a Bailey version, specifically a Bailey version, is that it's a 19mm socket. There is also a 21mm socket, which I assume is what everyone else uses, but for some reason it's a specific Bailey version. Didn't cost any more than what you might call a regular version, but that's it. It has a 19mm socket in there for fitting on the wheel nuts. So what I'll do, I'll open this. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare because it's one of these plastic containery horrible things. So I'll open this. Once it's open, I'll go through what's in the pack. So these things are notoriously horrible to open. Kitchen scissors. Shh, don't tell anyone. I'll just cut across here. In fact, on the back it does have some instructions, so I'll make sure anyway, I'm sure you know how to open one of these. So I've liberated the torque wrench from its plastic case. There's a piece of card at the back which has instructions on here, fairly straightforward. I mean, there's not a lot to it, to be honest, but anyway, I'll show you. In the pack you get these indicator like plastic covers that go on the wheel nuts. The idea is, I think you point them in towards the centre of the wheel, and if it's turned then they need tightening. So it does save you needing to check every single time you go out. Also in the pack you get a couple of sockets, this one being 21mm and then this other one 19mm, which I think is the Bailey specific one. Obviously it fit any nut that's 19mm, not just a Bailey nut. Extension bar, which comes in handy. So this would basically go on here, that would go on a torque wrench and you can do the nut up. And then of course the torque wrench itself, which is, you know, looks pretty much like any other torque wrench if you've seen one. It's good construction, quite heavy, nice metal grip there I think, which is how you adjust the torque wrench, but I'll talk about that in a minute, and a nut on the end. So that's it, probably a standard torque wrench. A little flicky switch there enables you to clockwise or anti-clockwise, so nut, screw up or undo. And also you do get, for what it's worth, a little plastic case to put it in so you can store it tidily, which is good. So going back to the price, this was £50. They can get torque wrenches for, I saw them on Amazon from anything from £20 upwards. Now the reason I got this was I like the idea of the indicator covers, so that with a quick glance I can just see if they need tightening or not, rather than having to tighten. Now there's quite a few of these indicator nuts. You do get, I think, I'll just count them. So you do get 20 of these covers. We have twin axle caravan, obviously 4 wheels, so that'll cover the whole lot. Hi, right, let's briefly go through the anatomy of a torque wrench. If you don't know about one, this is what one looks like. Pretty similar to a normal wheel wrench, really. It has a few different features though, obviously, which is why it's called a torque wrench. At one end you've got where the socket goes on, so you probably put the extension bar on if you need be. Then your socket, which turns it into like a maybe a normal wheel socket to do up or undo. Now how do you set the torque, I hear you ask? I'll tell you. Right, so that's the one. So at the other end is what looks like a nut, and on top of that is a thumb screw which you can loosen off. Now, you loosen that then enables you to set the torque in Newton meters, which is the measurement that's used. So there's a scale there which you probably can't see, but trust me, there is. You turn this to meet that scale, and when it lines up with the numbers, that's what it's set. Then you tighten this end like that to stop it from adjusting while you're tightening the nut, and then obviously reassemble this. So there, put it on the nut, and as you turn it, it will click once it's reached the required pressure or Newton meter measurement. And that's pretty much it. Easy. Why didn't I do this 15 years ago? Once it's tightened, we'd pop one of those on, and that'd be it.